Anyway, we are ready. The first song we're going to play is has sort of an interesting history. It's as you can see in the program, it's called Chester, and which is sort of an odd name for a song. And it's actually dates back to the Revolutionary War era. And the lyrics talk about ending tyranny and overthrowing the king and all that kind of good stuff that they talk about in the Revolutionary War. But why is it called Chester? Does anybody know? The reason it's called Chester is that back in those days, and if you wanted to learn a tune, you had to learn it by memory. Someone would sing it to you and you'd learn to sing it back, just like we do now when we hear a song on the radio. But a lot of times they would say, well, here I got these words, but rather than try to teach you the tune, because of course they didn't have recordings back then, they would say, we're going to sing it to this tune that you already know. And they would say, we're just going to name this tune. A lot of tunes might have 20 different songs that all had the same tune. And what they would do is they would just name the melody. So the melody that they set the words of this song to was called Chester. One of the things they did is they would give melodies people's names as a way to make them easy to remember. Most of those names and those melodies have disappeared. This is one of the few that is stuck around. And we still know it by the name of the melody, Chester. It goes back to the Revolutionary War. You're not going to hear any of those words. Here we go. Next up, Kendall and Isabel are going to play one of the traditional spirituals. This is Swing Low, Sweet Cherry. Next up is something that I always fear when I do these solo things. I ask people to do solos, which is two people came to me and said, "Mr. O, I got this great song," and it was the exact same song. And I said, well, okay, well, maybe you guys could do a duet, or maybe the audience will just hear the song twice. And Alex said, you know what, I'll just play a different song. I'll just learn another song in 45 minutes or however long it is. And he did it. And this is, and actually, he actually wrote a little bit extra for it. This is variations on Coming Around the Mountain. Another song with a historic story. So, I know, I gotta tell stories because it's my job. And finally, I'm doing a concert where I actually have my voice, so you guys are gonna get stuck hearing everything I have to say. The next song, 1812 Overture, you guys know, you've heard it a million times. If you've ever gone to see the Pops on the 4th of July, you know they play it every time. But what people don't know is that even though the Boston Pops played on the 4th of 1812, it's about a war that took place in 1812, but not the war of 1812. It's written by Tchaikovsky. It's actually about Russia and France fighting a war. So Napoleon was taking over all of Europe. He went to invade Russia. Russia, of course, is very big and very cold, and it was kind of hard for him to do it. And what you're going to hear in this song is a few themes that are about this war. So you'll hear the French national anthem, and we're going to play a couple of these themes for you so you know what you're hearing when you're in the song. The second one, we're going to play the French national anthem right now. You'll hear this at the very beginning. We know that, right? Okay. Remember, though, Tchaikovsky's present in this song, right? Because this is Napoleon. So, next up, we're going to hear very softly coming off in the distance and eventually getting louder is this theme we all think of when we think of the 1812 Overture. And the saxophone is going to play this for us again. And they're going to play it kind of softly. Okay, you know that one too. That's the 1812 Overture. That's what people pay to hear the 1812 Overture. You guys get to hear it for free. There's a couple other themes that come in here too. The low brass are going to represent the army coming. So we've heard this theme. Wait, maybe the cavalry's coming. A little brass of the Russian army marching in. And you're going to hear this marching. And they play that for about a year and they get really sick of it. But that's kind of how armies march. Then they're going to play the Russian national anthem. Everyone's going to be playing that happy, yay, we won. And then we hear the Russian national anthem from the low brass of the army. So, well, there are all these things going on, all crammed into 2 minutes. Now, the original version of the song is about 20 minutes long, much like this demonstration that I'm giving of what's happening in the song. And it's actually the reason that they do it for the 4th of July, one of the reasons is that when Tchaikovsky wrote it, he actually wrote into the score of the song that there should be cannons going off, and fireworks, and church bells ringing, which they actually did. We're not going to do that. We were originally planning to shoot Seamus out of a cannon. And we were going to use Trevor. Trevor volunteered to stand inside a big church bell and do this. Apparently, insurance, something, I don't know, we weren't allowed to do it. So, we get this version instead.